Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Meraj Kidwai, and you're watching Vertex, a solution of every need. How is everyone, and how is everyone doing today? Ladies and gentlemen, what I brought in this video, and of course, my dear students out there, the viewers of this channel, My Mother at 66 by Kamala Das. It's a poetry in grade 12 CBSC. It's a beautiful poem. It's a beautiful poetry that I brought in this video on special request of some of my students who were my older students, and anybody who watches this channel who want us to upload a particular topic on this channel can put their request and we will definitely work onto it. So My Mother at 66 by Kamala Das. Of course, before I begin, I request you, if you hear any voices at the background, please ignore those voices. I cannot control the environment outside my office, so if you hear any honking or any hawker's voice, please ignore, and I hope you'll support us. So My Mother at 66 by Kamala Das is a beautiful poem. It's a beautiful poetry by Kamala Das. It's a poetry which has emotions, sentiments, and which has an expression of fear of losing one's mother because of aging. So it's an expression and the feelings of Kamala Das for her mother when she is going away from her mother because of her present or future responsibilities that as an adult we all have to bear in our lives, and our responsibilities that we have to bear in our lives. And because of that, sometimes we have to uh, leave our parents at their homes, at their respective homes, and have to move out for work, for education, or for our responsibilities. Women get married and move in with their husbands. So there are a lot of societal responsibilities and other types of responsibilities, and as an adult a person has to bear on the shoulders, and because of those sometimes you have to leave your parents back. So the kind of a feeling, that expression she shares in this poetry, it's a beautiful poetry. It's extremely emotional, extremely sentimental, and one of the finest poetry by Kamala Das. It's a very short poetry, it's a very short poem. You will figure it out in the coming slides. So stay tuned till the end. I'll be covering up it in detail. Let's begin. So before, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear students, I'll begin this poetry, the explanation. I want you all to please sit for this activity. This is called as speaking time. When I'm in my classroom, I do it with my students. So right now, whoever watches me on YouTube channel, what you can do, if you're sitting with your siblings, if you're sitting with your parents right now, with your mother, father, or with a friend, or you're watching this video with a group, what you can do, you have to sit in a group. Let's say for 2-3 people you can sit like this, or maybe more. Share your feelings about your mother with one another, right? Share how you feel about your mother. Everybody will share their thoughts about their mother with one another. And then you have to tell about the 5 qualities that you cherish about your mother, right? For example, let me imagine right now that I'm sitting with you in the class, and if I'll share about my mother, I'll say my mother is a very caring person, she is very sensitive, right? And for instance, in many other aspects, the way you would like to share about your mother. Then you have to tell the 5 qualities that you cherish about her. What are the qualities that your mother may have? For example, if I say about my mother, she's a very caring person, she's a very concerned person. So this is few of the qualities I told you about my mother. In the same way, in a group where you're sitting right now, if you're sitting with your father and mother, your father will tell about his mother, your mother will tell about her mother, and you will tell about your mother. Right? This way you have to conduct this activity. What would be the best gift you would like to buy for your mother? What would you like to buy for your mother? You can express your views, your thoughts about it, and share it within the group. Then share your opinion about senior citizen. So, my dear students, this is especially for you, for the young students as well. I'm sure in grade 12 everybody knows, but if anybody who is watching this video, who is a senior citizen? A senior citizen is a person who is above the age of 60 years by law. Okay, a person who is above, irrespective of the gender, a person who is above 60 years of age by law is called as a senior citizen. So what are your thoughts about them? What is your opinion about senior citizens? You have to share it with one another. Do remember, while you're sharing this, you must keep empathy in your mind and heart. Empathy is very important in this group activity, right? Let's move ahead. So now I'll be beginning up this poetry in detail. So stay tuned. If you have a pen or paper, please get a pen or paper with you. Grab a glass of water, sip a glass of water if you would like to. If you would like to pause this video at this point, you can pause and resume it back. So now what you can do, my dear students, I'm sure you must be having your books with you right now. If you're sitting in a group, I would suggest you that, and I must say that you can do this activity with your parents also, no matter if you're in grade 12 as well, doesn't matter. Go and sit with your parents. At least you'll get some family time along with this learning, and you will sit with your parents, and I want you to do this activity along with them if you're watching this. So you can divide yourself, let's say your brother or sister, and you yourself, your mother and father, the four people are there. You need four people for this activity. So one person is going to predict the text. Okay, one person is going to clarify the text that you read, one person is going to question the text, and one person is going to summarize the text. So I would suggest you do this activity in the end. I do this activity with my students in the classroom. So right now I am assuming that I am in a class and people who are watching this video are sitting in a classroom, and I want you to please form a group of 4 to conduct this activity. Okay, so one person who will be predicting the text that you're reading, the poetry that you'll be reading. One person will clarify, one person will question, and one person will summarize. So after my explanation, please conduct this activity. I'm sure you will enjoy this. Let's begin. So who is Kamala Das? She is Kamala Das, and this is Kamala Das picture, or during her uh, uh, young age. So Kamala Das, she was born in 1939 and between 2007. She was born in Malabar, Kerala. She was married to Madhav Das and originally called as Madhavi Kutti. So she was called as Madhavi Kutti, and Kamala Das was a pen name, and she was married to Madhav Das. She was an Indian poet who wrote in English and Malayalam. So she used to write in English and Malayalam. She was the one of the boldest women poet of her time. So she was the boldest women poet of her times. Why she was called like that? Because a person, an author or writer, writes what is relevant with his or her personality, right? So she used to write according to the compatibility to her personality. She used to express that, right? So that is why she was pretty bold, honest. She was widely recognized as a columnist from Kerala who wrote on diverse topics including social issues and politics. So she was a columnist, a person who writes column in magazines or newspapers. So she used to write about social issues, she used to write about politics as well. Her final expression included with The Kept Woman and Other Stories. She was criticized for her bold outlook over women's suppression. She received a lot of recognition with Weiler Award, Kerala Sahitya Akademi Award for Story, Kerala State Film Award for Best Story, and many more. So this is a brief information about the poet. I also recommend you to go and research yourself about Kamala Das in detail, about her work, and you can try to cherish other works published by Kamala Das as well, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move ahead. Okay, my dear viewers, my dear students, let's begin understanding the poetry here. So, driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me, doze, open-mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away and looked out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. But after the airport's security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her, worn, pale as late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. But all I said was, "See you soon, Amma." All I did was smile and smile and smile. So I read this poetry. It's a very short poetry. Before going into the technicalities about this poetry, I'll try to explain it to you here. So the poetess was driving from the parents' home, and where she was going to the airport. So the poetess was driving and going to airport. This is the first thing. She was driving Friday morning, right? So driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday, and where she was going to Cochin. Why I'm telling you this in detail? Because some questions in your examinations may put up where she was going, when she was driving, which morning she was driving. So these kind of questions may come up in your exams. Or you need to analyze the poetry in detail. That is why I'm breaking this down for you here. So the poetess was driving from her parents' home. She was going to Cochin Friday morning, and when she looked at her mother, who was sitting next to her, besides her, she was dozed. Now, what is the meaning of the word doze here? The word meaning of doze, sleeping lightly. You know, like you, whenever you travel and you may feel tired while traveling, so at times you take a short nap. You're not in a deep sleep, but you're sleeping lightly. So doze means sleeping lightly, open mouthed, and she seems to be very tired. Her mother seems to be very tired while she was driving from her parents' home to the to the airport of that city where she was going to Cochin. So she found that mother is, sleeping lightly in the car, and her mouth was open, her face ashen like that of a corpse. Ashen. What does the word ashen means? So what does the word ashen means here? Ashen means that pale, dull. So the face of her mother was dull like that of a corpse. What is a corpse, my dear students? Corpse means a dead body, right? So the face of her mother was like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away. So what she realized, who realized here? The poetess. The poetess realized, Kamala Das realized it here, that her mother is getting old as she looked old. She's looking old as well, and she is getting old as well when she looked at her mother's face, when she looked at her mother sitting next to her in the car, when she was going to the airport to catch a flight to Cochin from her parents' home. And she is realizing it that mother is really getting old, and she has this realization with deep pain in her heart. But soon she put this thought away and looked out at young trees sprinting. Now, at once she looks at the sidewards next to her where her mother is sitting, and she looked at her mother. Mother looks really dull, pale, old, and she compared her mother's face with a dead body. And when she look outside of the window, she puts this thought away when she looks at the young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. So young trees sprinting and merry children spilling out of their homes. What does this mean? When she look out of the window, she finds the beautiful young trees, the greenery is there, the children, the happy children are playing outside, they're coming out of their homes. But after the airport security check, now when you go to board a flight, before boarding a flight, you have to go through this security check. Now, what is a security check? Security check is the airport authorities check the person thoroughly before they board the flight, so the functioning of the travel of that particular passenger and other passengers will be smooth. Standing a few yards away, so when she went to the airport, she went through the security check, and she was standing a few yards away from her mother. I looked again at her, and she again looked at her mother's face, worn, pale as late winter's moon, and her mother's face was worn. So what does the word worn mean here? Worn also means pain, sorry, pale or dull, or I would say lifeless. The pronunciation of this word is not van, it's worn. Okay, so I looked again at her, worn, pale as late winter's moon. So her mother's face she compared with the late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. And that old familiar ache, what was the familiar ache the poetess, the Kamala Das, felt? That fear, but all I said was, see you soon, Amma. So when we are young, and we always fear that at some point in our life we may have to lose our parents, and we may be permanently departed from our parents. They will go away because as far as the aging is concerned, the parents may pass away, and we will lose this connection, and we may not be able to see our parents again. So that was the familiar ache Kamala Das, the poetess, had in her mind, in her heart, and that is why she was feeling a lot of pain, but she did not express this to her mother. Whatever she is writing here, these all are her thoughts, right? These are the thoughts of the poetess. She didn't say this to her mother. But what did she say to her mother? But all I said was, see you soon, Amma. And she said with a hope, when she's departing, when she did the security check and she was about to board the flight, before that she said to her mother, see you soon, Amma. So here she had hope, and she uplifted herself with hope that, okay, when I'll come back again, my mother will be there. She will not leaving this world. And my fear, this is my fear, this is my old familiar ache in my heart, that someday I may lose my mother, I may lose her, because she's getting old, she's aging. She is comparing her mother's face with a dead body. Her mother looks very tired, her mother looks very lifeless now, and she may pass away at any point in her life. But the poetess Kamala Das, she again uplifted her mood and uplifted herself by a thought, by a hope that whenever she will come back, she will see her Amma soon. And she also motivated her Amma in these lines that, okay, when I'll come back, you will be here again. All I did was smile and smile and smile. So she motivated her mother that I am going, but I will come back again. So there are two expressions here. One is that she will see her mother again when she'll come back, and again she made a statement of promise to her mother that I will come back again. So I'll come back and see you again whenever I'll come back to my parents' place. And when she when she went inside the airport and boarded the flight, all I did was smile and smile and smile. So this is a beautiful, beautiful emotional poetry, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear friends. It's an extremely emotional poetry, an extremely emotional thought, a thought of losing a parent because of aging, a thought, a fear that, you know, when we grow up and uh, we become adults and become responsible for our life as well, and other responsibilities that we have to shoulder in our life, and our parents are aging now. Due to some responsibilities in our life, we are unable to be with our parents all the time. We are unable to be there to take care of them at times. So there's also a guilt in the poet here. I can see that there's also a type of a guilt that I may not see her again because she has to shoulder other responsibilities and the mother is getting old each and every day. So but she uplifted herself and she made herself strong that I will see you soon, and all she could do that at point of time just to motivate her mother that I'm with you, and she smiles and smile and smile. And here you can see the ellipsis is there. So this is a long sentence. It is a long sentence and it didn't end, because a sentence ends with a period or a full stop. So if you can see, there is no end of the sentence, there is no end of this thought. And so she you know ended this poetry on a thought of, you know, reuniting with her mother, of seeing her soon. So she ended this thought on a positive note rather than on a negative note, that whenever I'll come back, I'm going to see my mother again. So this is a beautiful poem. Let's understand more about this poem in detail. So let's wait here. If you would like to pause this video and go and sip a glass of water, you want to grab a glass of water, go and do that. You want to go to the washrooms, take a break and come back, and you can pause it here. And there's something more coming up. Okay, so now we come to the punctuation of the poetry. These were the punctuations used. A comma, and of course ellipsis. Ellipsis was also used. Ellipsis, it is singular, and ellipsis, it's plural. This is singular and this is plural. What was ellipsis? Ellipsis was used after smile and smile and smile. This. That means the thought that the poet put into these lines didn't come to an end. You know, she didn't end the long sentence with the period. We end the sentence with a period. It signifies that the sentence has come to an end. But that thought, smile and smile and smile. So without repeating those words again and again, that smile and smile and smile and smile again and again, she used ellipsis mark there. So ellipsis is used for omission purposes, omission of speech or certain words, right? That is why we use ellipsis. So now coming to what is a comma. Let's understand what is a comma. Use a comma to separate words or items in a list. So we do use, this is how a comma looks, my dear students. This is how we use comma to separate words or phrases. I want milk, sugar, and water, for example. Or if you can see these examples here. She has 2 dogs, comma, 3 cats and 5 fishes. Now, she has 2 dogs. When we use a comma, we take a shorter pause. Using a comma creates short pause. while we read or while we speak. Okay, I want milk, a short pause, sugar, and water. When we use a period in comparison to a comma, we take a long pause. Alright, so that is how we differentiate between the pause of the period and the pause of the comma. Now, this was the first rule, that we use it to separate words or items. Okay, use a comma to separate city from its state. Okay, I am from East Lansing, comma, Michigan. For example, if I say I am from Hyderabad. Oh, excuse me for the spelling. Hyderabad, comma, and where Hyderabad is? In Telangana. Alright, so we use it here as well. Use a comma to separate two adjectives. Now you all know what are adjectives in grade 12. So adjectives are those words which describes a noun in short. When the word and can be inserted between them. She was a young, comma, charming girl. So young is an adjective, comma, charming girl. I hope this is clear to all of you. So these are few of the rules. There are a lot of rules, but these are few of the rules about the comma, right? As per the usage in the poetry. Let's move ahead. Now, which form of poetry it is? Which form of poetry my mother at 66 is? It is an interior monologue. Interior monologue. Now, what is a monologue? Monologue means. So, what is monologue? Monologue means a speech, right? It is interior monologue. It is the classification of monologue. That means the thought. You know, whenever you have a thought in your mind, at times you talk to yourself in your mind about something, whether taking up a decision, whether analyzing something, observing about somebody or some situation. So you talk to yourself in your head, in your mind. These are your thoughts, and she penned down those thoughts, that interior monologue in the form of this poetry. So my mother at 66 is an interior monologue. This is the form of this poetry. It is a single sentenced thought used with punctuation, right? Because at the end, the ellipsis mark was used to rather to continue smile and smile. The poetess omitted it with the usage of ellipsis in the end, so it is a long sentence and it is written in free verse as well. Okay, it's a free verse as well. So these are the form of poetry. Free verse means that it has no rhyme scheme. This poetry has no rhyme scheme, so it is a free verse poetry. Let's move on to the figures of speech. Now, what is a figure of speech? Now, there are n number of figures of speech in English language. For example, simile, metaphor, personification, anaphora. So these all are figures of speech. Now, figures of speech beautifies the expression of the language. That is why figures of speech has been used. Let's understand in detail. So now coming to the figures of speech, the first figure of speech that we are going to cover up in this video, used in the poetry here by the poetess, is simile. Now what is simile? Simile is when you are directly comparing two different things together. You are using the words such as and like. So if you'll see the lines here, for example, when she was comparing her mother's face with the dead body. So, like corpse, right? She compared her mother's face with that of the corpse. So, she used simile there. Also, she used here, she was as old as she looked. As she looked. So she was as old as she looked. So she made a direct comparison between her mother and the way she was looking. And she also made a comparison by using like of a corpse. Like in the lines, ashen like that of a corpse. Ashen like. So you can jot down by yourself as well here. So wherever you're using the words as and like, you're comparing two different things together with a direct comparison, it is a simile. Let's move ahead. Now coming to personification. What is personification? Now personification is the literary device or the figure of speech used when you are comparing or when you are viewing or analyzing the inhuman things with the human qualities. For example, young trees sprinting. Young trees sprinting. Okay, in this line, the poet tries to put the tree into life, that the trees are moving along with her. Right? So here she used personification. So she put the human quality, a human can move along with you, but a tree cannot move along with you because tree has a particular or permanent place. They do not move from one place to another. But here young trees sprinting in this line, the personification used by the poetess is that it is moving along with her car. So that is what personification is. Let's move ahead. So the next literary device or figure of speech used by the poetess is apostrophe. We all know this is how the apostrophe looks. So she used apostrophe here in the sentence, I will see you soon, Amma. So she said this, Amma means mother in English, right? So she used Amma, I will see you soon, Amma. She's referring to her mother. She's saying this to her mother that I will see you soon. So the mother did not reply anything to her in these lines. So the there's an absence of the person who has to reply to this particular line here, but she's referring this to her mother, Amma. So apostrophe is used as when she's directly referring this to her mother. Direct reference. Okay, so she's saying this to her Amma, a direct conversation. She's directly referring to her mother. That is how apostrophe as a figure of speech is used here. Of course, we use apostrophe as a punctuation. It's her. Let's say Lisa's book, right? To understand this, you can go and watch the punctuation video on my channel that I've posted a few months ago, and you will find it in detail how we can use apostrophe in our sentences. But here, with reference to the figure of speech, apostrophe is used in direct reference to her mother by the poetess. Let's move ahead. Metaphor. Now, what is a metaphor? Now, we know that metaphor implies to the indirect comparison. So, how metaphor is used here? The metaphor is used here when she says that young trees sprinting, in those lines, young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. So, she is at once looking towards her mother, where the mother looks aged, dull, pale, lifeless, and she compared the mother's face with the corpse. And on the other hand, when she looks out of the window, she looks the young trees and personifying those trees, that it moves along with her. Young trees and children, the happy, lively, cheerful children are coming out of their homes and coming out to play. So the two distinction, the two different situations, the totally two different point of views, she is creating a comparison between the two. That is how metaphor is used in here in these lines. So there's a total contradiction, complete contradiction here. One situation can be assessed as lifeless because when it is compared with a corpse, and other is full of life. Two different situations. So the situations I'm referring here to whom? The mother. Mother whom she compared with the dead body, and young trees sprinting whom she has given a thought of moving along with her because they are young, green, right? Happy, cheerful, lively children when she look out of the window. But when she looked towards her mother, she feels a lot of pain in herself, in her heart, in her mind. But when she looks out of the window, she feels hopeful and positive. That is how metaphor is used. I hope it is clear. Let's move ahead. So the next figure of speech used is a repetition. When a particular word or phrase is repeated again and again, it is called as repetition, the figure of speech. Smile and smile and smile. So a particular word is repeated again and again. This is the figure of speech called as repetition. When a particular word or phrase is repeated again and again. I hope this is clear. Let's move ahead. So coming to the theme of this poetry, what is the theme? So first is, I would say, comparison. In almost all the lines, the poetess is comparing her mother. Now, if we analyze this particular line, young trees sprinting, and this one, the merry children coming, spilling out of their homes, right? So if we analyze these lines here, the mother has been compared with the life, the beginning. If we see the human life cycle, the human aspect of the life, the mother is at the ending of the human life cycle. She is at the ending of her life, and the trees and the children are signifying the beginning of the lifespan. So there are two different situations, two different aspects of human life, and there again a theme of concern of the aging, concern of aging of mother, or I would say the fear of losing a parent, fear of losing a parent. So she has a fear of losing her mother as well, right? She loves her mother, of course, and that is why she has a fear in her mind that I may not see her again when I'll come back, right? This is again a theme in this poetry. Now, what was the third point I would like to say here? That, but at the end, there is motivation also. She motivates her mother, motivation or a point of hope. At times, as I elaborated in the previous slide, that we have to shoulder our responsibilities and we have to leave our parents back sometime, because we have to move ahead in our life, but we have to leave our parents. We are not physically present to take care of them, but we also have a motivation and a hope that we have in our mind, in our heart, for our parents. When that when we come back, we will see them again. We want them to be there for us. We do not want them to go away. And this is the same positivity we put in the minds and the hearts of our parents as well, that we want you to be here for us again, right? That is why she smiles and smiles and smiles. So there's a point of hope also, that there there is the probability that the mother is aging. There is a probability that she is becoming tired, worn, pale, lifeless. But of course, the poet also wants to see her mother because she has a fear of losing her. That's a thought. Maybe she is comparing two different situations, two different human aspects of life. One is the beginning aspect, where the trees are young, the children are coming out of their homes to play, they're young, they're cheerful, they're lively. And at one, she's comparing her mother, but she has a hope that again she will see her mother because of the love and concern she may have for her mother. So again, there's a fear. The fear of losing a parent is the theme. There is a comparison between the two human life aspects, and of course at the end, she has a hope also. So there's a theme of hope also, to have your parents in your life, and you do not want them to go away, no matter how age at what age they are, no matter how lifeless they look, no matter how weak or tired they look. You want them to be with you always. Let's move ahead. Now the tone, what is the tone of this poetry? The tone of this poetry, it is full of pain. The tone was emotional, it was sensitive, um, and of course, it was, I would say, sorrowful or painful again. So, because the concern of losing a parent was there in Kamala Das' mind. She may lose her mother when she'll come back because she's aging now. So she's becoming sorrowful for her mother, that okay, I may lose my parent if because she's aging now. So I may lose her. I may not be able to see her again. So there is pain and sadness in the tone of the expression of the poetess. Of course, it is very emotional because it's based on human relationships, the mother and the daughter relationship that they share with each other, the concern of the parent, of the daughter, that she is bidding goodbye to her mother, but with a hope that she'll see her again. So it is ending not, it is ending with a hope of reuniting again. So it is quite an emotional and sensitive tone as well. Let's move ahead. Okay, now to the YouTube. You were students out here. There is a time of writing. I've explained you this poetry. I've broke down this poetry in detail with the technicalities. Now what I want you to please write a summary by yourself. You can send me your summary on mail. I will evaluate it for you and send it back to you on your mails as well. If you want to learn from this channel, it is open for everyone. I just want to motivate you that please do not ever think or put a restriction on yourself that you cannot do this and you cannot do that. I can teach you from this channel as well. So do write the summary of this poetry. Send it to me on my mail. I will evaluate for you and send it back to you. Okay. So do write a summary of this poem in your own words to improve your writing skill. Okay. If you have further questions, any doubts, any problem anywhere understanding this poetry, write an email to me and I will surely get back to you. You can visit my website www.vertexthesolution.com. Find the details, who am I, what I do, what are my credentials. On the website, all the details are published there. So again, I'm going to emphasize that do write the summary of this poetry. It's a beautiful poetry. Send it to me on my mail, annikidwai366@gmail.com. I will evaluate for you and send it back to you for sure. For sure. So do write it. Maybe I'll take some time, but definitely I will reply. I do reply to each one of the viewer here on this channel, right? Whoever wants to educate themselves, who wants to uplift themselves, I'm there to support you no matter how I do that, but I will definitely do that. So I'm trying to contribute with my knowledge, my skill through this platform. So do write the summary and send it to me for evaluation. I'll uplift you. I'll tell you where you go wrong, where you need to improve yourself, and send it to you on your mails, right? Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. If you like what I do on this channel, please subscribe this channel, support this channel, press the bell icon, and let me know what other topics I can upload here. And of course, for the students who have requested this topic, you need to write the summary and send it to me on my mail, on my WhatsApp, and I'll evaluate and send it back to you, right? So thank you so much for watching and have a great day.